Here we are, folks. We are live. It's Wednesday, the 24th day of March, and we're here with another story. I'm Tom Young, and we're here with Money Tracks, and this is episode 242, Facebook Live. I want to rock your world today. I want to make a difference in your life by the way that we think. This is the controlling factor. Everything in our future is determined by this thinking muscle between our ears. This has to happen before anything else. So action follows, but thinking has to start first. As we start every presentation, we start with prayers for everybody affected by COVID. Our prayers, our heartfelt prayers go out to everybody, that we will get over this, get around it, get it behind us, and get back to some normalcy of living again. So we also want to pray for those who have lost loved ones, and the loved ones have been lost, that the Lord would open his arms and gather them into his kingdom above. In Jesus' name we pray. As we get started today is really the concept. There's three elements today I want to talk about: fact versus fantasy, aspiration and autonomous, courageous struggle. And the word for today is interpretation. It sort of all fits together because our interpretation of things is kind of unique. And let me read you the definition. Interpretation: the action of explaining the meaning of something. An explanation is or way of explaining. What people in the world think of you is really none of your business. Martha Graham. Think about that. What people in the world think of you is really none of your business. What other people think about us sometimes becomes our detriment to some way because of the way we handle that. It is just interesting how we handle that in things that we think about, what we look at ourselves. Fact versus fantasy. You must learn how to differentiate between fact and fantasy. This is basic to any form of healthy living. Your communication with yourself must be real. If you keep mulling over and over in your mind some mistake or some misfortune of the past, you are living in a dream world of fantasy, not in reality. You know, when I look at that and I think of the words when we talk, it's really about getting some kind of workable handle on the knowledge so that we can move forward and have momentum and have real growth in our lives, something that becomes growth to contribution. As we grow and become better, as we become the person in life, it isn't what you do for a living, it's the person you become. And that becoming leads to contribution to society. Imagine what life would be like today if the people of the past did not grow so that they could make a contribution. The computer, somebody originally made a contribution. Maybe we can say it was Bill Gates. I don't know. But everything that exists was created because somebody made a mental, conscious decision to act on an idea or a vision. They made a conscious decision to act upon it. What things in your past What ideas did you have in your past that you didn't act upon, but at some future date, you realize somebody else eventually had that thought and they acted on it and created something and got a reward for what they created? You know, I talk about when I had the auto body shop and I created an idea. Actually, I made them. I welded these heads together on a pair of vice grips to be able to work on a car where there was rust, where I could cut it out and then I would crimp it, and actually it would put a crimp in the metal. So when I put the new piece of metal on, it was level and not raised above. I didn't act on that idea. And many years later, I happened to be in an auto parts store, and guess what? There was those vice grips that had those tips on it that would create that leveling of the metal so that it would accommodate another piece on top of it. I mean, I've never forgotten that, because I had that idea years before I actually saw it in an auto parts store, that somebody eventually come up with that idea. We are all full of ideas that need to be acted upon in what we're doing. So it is so important to do this in a very purposeful way to go forward. Fact that aspiration and autonomous. So what do I mean by that? Aspiration. Do you aspire to be more than you are? Do you have an aspiration to grow, to want to be more, to want to contribute someday in society, to contribute something? What is autonomous? What does that mean? Let me find in here. Aspirations, autonomous. One of the basic aspects of self-acceptance is aspiration. In that you believe in yourself and strive to transform your belief into creative performance. In aspiration, you move towards your goals creatively, and you pursue opportunity wherever you find it. We have to be willing to act. Now, let me take that a step deeper, because if you don't like the person looking back in the mirror, we've talked about all these pieces, all of these things that I'm talking about and that we're going through day after day are just pieces to the big jigsaw puzzle, your jigsaw puzzle. The you that we're talking about, the you that you are today compared to the you that you were in the past, compared to the you that you will become in the future. Are you aspiring to be more, grow more, have more? Are you chasing a dream? That's all this stuff we're talking about. And then I love this third one, is the courageous struggle. Courageous struggle. You have to be courageous to step out and do. So there is a courageous struggle in everybody's lives all along the way. Sometimes it's for big things, small things, whatever, but we all go through a courageous struggle. It's part of growing. It's part of living life, moving forward, and becoming all you can be in life. And it's really for the benefit of others. The more you start to realize that what you're doing and you are becoming is more for the benefit of others than it is for you. It was funny, I had a phone call from a lady, a client, and we were talking about some financial thing of hers, and I recommended she do something, and she did that recommendation. And as we talked, she told me she's a Asian descent, young, older lady, very short. She said she was just amazed how nice people are to her. She said she was in a store the other day, and she was looking for something that was sort of out of her reach, and somebody standing near her come over and said, "Ma'am, Can I help you reach something? Out of the blue, didn't ask for help. They just offered. And that was somebody that was paying attention to their environment and saw an opportunity to do something good for somebody else at that moment in time. We have to learn how to live our lives that way. When you see something that you can help somebody, do something for somebody, add something to the situation to make it better, are you courageous enough to make that courageous effort to make a difference in somebody else's life? That's what we're talking about. Let's being as simple as I can be. Or are you one of those, don't bother me, I won't bother you. And those kind of people live shadowed, miserable lives, really. They're in this shell that they have around themselves, like an egg that never hatches. And if an egg never hatches, it eventually rots. It gets rotten. That's the same aspect of what we're talking about here. Same aspect. So we want to make sure that we're building this thinking muscle, we're strengthening it every day. And as we do this, I can almost with certainty tell you that there will start to happen aha moments in your life when all of a sudden you will think of something that you never thought of before, because that's the power of the mind. I mean, people don't use more than 20% of their entire capacity. I talked about that movie the other day, Lucy, and how this drug enhanced her mind to do all kinds of crazy things. It was a movie, it had a lot of fantasy in it, let me put it that way. But who knows? It was a creative idea from somebody's mind that this existed. And maybe it does or it doesn't, I don't know. But I see advertisements for drugs that will enhance your thinking. Maybe it's along that line. I don't have any idea. I'm not in the medical business. But I see this stuff. And it causes my imagination to go to work. Remember that creative imagination stuff we talk about? As you grow you and you gain in self-fulfillment, you gain in self-acceptance, you start to change, you start to grow, you gain courage and confidence in yourself. It's really what it's all about, folks. This book, Psycho-Cybernetics, we're going to finish it up by the end of this week, because next week we start a new month, and next month's book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Unbelievable book. I've read it 2 or 3 times. It is just an unbelievable book by Stephen Covey. It is one of the most read business self-development books in the marketplace. So it's sort of a newer book, but it's going to be an old book like these ones that I have been talking the last few months that have millions of copies. They're republished over and over again because of the value and the benefit that is found in these books. So with that, I'm going to close it off for today. Tomorrow, our word tomorrow is aspiration. That's the secret word tomorrow. Compassionate attitude is what tomorrow's theme is going to be. A compassionate attitude. I think that's going to be interesting. God bless. Get my book, The Family Money Farm, The CFO Project. Get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to CFO-productproject.com. Put in your email address, get it instantly, get a free download, get a link that'll give you a free download of the book to your computer or your cell phone. There it is. Change your life, folks. When you go here, you'll have another opportunity to invest in 4 more books in a 1-hour video. comes with an absolute money back guarantee. Take advantage. Start the journey. Start the journey to becoming the awesome person that you were meant to be. It lies in front of you. With that, God bless. We'll see you here tomorrow at noon, give or take a minute. There it is. God bless.